It's 3:30 and beautiful afternoon. We're going live. I could not resist it. I am here quarantined in this horrible spot. Please don't hate me because I'm like David Geffen. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, look at today. Is this amazing way to be by yourself? Time is money. 127. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Wanted to answer some questions. Hey, Jake. Thanks so much. Wanted to thank everybody at MentorBox today. Had a really good experience. Great group of guys and women. Thank you for joining me and asking these great questions. Let's get some questions going here and see if you guys can go ahead and ask me a few questions on a weekend. I want to know, what's up, my brothers? Body by Blake. Good to see you. Jesus Luis, numero uno. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Por qué no comes la comida, amigo? Ven aquí, por favor. You're good people. Alrighty, we're trying to play around with this here. All right. Let's see here. What's your advice on believing in yourself? Hey, we got to take an inventory of your values to believe in yourself. There's only one person you need to believe in, and that's you. And that's because the minute you know what you want, it's a possibility. When you become inspired to get it, it's a probability. And just you are between you and your reality. So make sure that you believe in yourself. Don't vote for what other people want for you. Be confident, vote for yourself, allow yourself to pivot, allow yourself to be a hypocrite. All of those things are okay. Do you miss traveling? Oh my goodness. You know what? I don't put energy into what I don't have, right? I mean, how could I miss traveling when I got this? So if it's not one thing, it's another thing. I'm always looking for the superpower in whatever it is. In the person that I'm with, I'm looking for the superpower in the place I am. Whatever it may be. Let's see a couple of these questions. Please expand on your exponential rule of success. You know what? I'm going to hit that one before I get the other ones. We're going to have a few guests on today. Hi, Marlena. Good to see you. Exponential power of success. Everything builds in exponentiality, just like a virus. Happiness is the best virus. We know that grows exponentially, 1 to so many to the power. Well, the reason you do things consistently is that if you do things every day, it's x to the first power, then it's x to the second, then x to the third, x to the fourth. If you miss a day, it's x to the 0, which brings you back to number 1. So the exponentiality, why 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday, is because of the exponentiality of growth and expansion. That's how you can build a brand, 2 people at a time, getting 2 people at a time. You can grow your money the same way. Compound interest works with the exponentiality of growth. So when you realize consistency is far more of a value than anything else that you can do to accelerate your growth, because somebody could work super duper hard on Saturdays, 16 hours, 20 hours, and someone else could work 16 minutes every single day, and it will compound at a much faster and exponential rate. Do you have any big regrets? All right, so regrets exist in the past and fear exists in the future. Obviously, we're dealing with a lot of anxiety because there's uncertainty in the future. I work on having no regrets. I catch myself if I'm like, I would have done this. I wish I would have done this. Once you start looking in the light, the lessons of what you've done, and you take accountability for it, it's really hard to regret anything. It's one of the magic tricks of the world. Let's see here, a quick question. What is the best way doing sales in time of crisis? All right. The best way to do sales, oh boy. Hopefully everyone's still there. There we go. That's what I get for best way of doing sales in a time of crisis is follow the 5 to thrive. We're consistently, number 1, stimulating interest, 2, transitioning interest, 3, sharing a vision, 4, and most importantly, managing and developing that vision so it'll thrive. Knowing the 5 rules of how a sale is made, you also have to know the 5 things that most people consider. Number 1, credibility. You need to know your credibility, and especially in a time of a crisis. You don't want to oversell, back-end sell, lie, manipulate. You got to be credible. You got to stick to the truth, and the truth is relying on 1, your emotional attachment that you get, and 2, the quantitative reasons, impacts, and capabilities that you have. You need to come up with the math. You need to make sure that you're providing more value, and you're able to articulate that you're providing more value than you're asking for. Then comes the impact, which during a crisis, to show the impact that you have is far more important than it ever has been. It also tends to the credibility. So what do I mean by that? If you can impact, for example, I can figure out how to hook up 9 people to 1 respirator, right? That has a huge impact today. And so that would provide an incredible impetus on a sale. So looking at, 1, the credibility, 2, the emotional attachment, 3, the quantitative real math of the reasons, impacts, and capability, and then the impact. And then finally, and least important, is the features and benefits of the sale right now. The more you can provide value and service to others, the easier it will be to sell, especially in a time of crisis. Let's see if Bruce Tollner is on the line here. Not yet. I want to go live with Bruce today. There's so many of you, if you have any questions about careers, and there we go. Hold on, let's see what we got here. Hi, David. Can you, shy, inverted person, still be a great salesman and still a very lucrative career like in legal selling days? Yeah. So, look, just because you're shy doesn't mean, or an introvert, doesn't mean you can't sell. In fact, one of my top cold callers did barely know English, but he followed the methodology of stimulating interest, transitioning interest, and sharing a vision. And so you too can do that, whether you're shy or introverted. We got to make sure that we're asking, because the key to sales is asking how you can be of service or of value, a series of questions. And 2, ask a series of questions of how somebody else can help you. Everybody is a gatekeeper. Everybody is a connector for you. There we go. Let me see, Bruce Tollner over there. Let me grab you before I lose you. Hold on one second. Here. If everybody doesn't know, Bruce Tollner is the co-founder of Rep One Sports, one of the most famous sports agents in the world. They represent over 70 athletes at Rep One. Incredible people. That's what made them so great over the last 2.5 decades, is Bruce Tollner hopefully joining us here live to talk about what we should be doing today for careers. I know a lot of you ask me, how to become a sports agent? How do I get a job in sports? It really works the same way in almost every industry, because sports is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And although there's some unique changes in the short term right now, it's just a matter of time between everyone's lined up to buy their tickets. StubHub is rounding, and the gambling is going. 20 states legalized gambling in the last 18 months. So we'll see how that goes. Trying to get Bruce on. Do not know why we didn't connect. Let's try it one more time. Waiting for him to come on. Give me another question while we wait. There we go. I think we got him. Oh, my goodness.
What's going on, Mr. Meltzer?
You are looking younger and younger. I don't know. What are the effects of coronavirus? Is making you look younger?
No, we're just fighting the fight, man. Listening to your words of wisdom here. Good stuff, brother.
Thanks for joining me. I was just
Absolutely.
saying, one of the most common things people ask us is, how do I get a job in sports? How to become a sports agent? You and I have been blessed. We actually created a whole course for people to get a career, let alone a career in sports. And we were working with Innovate University. But we learned, I think there's 8 modules that we filmed, but we learned so much from the biggest names and the most powerful people in sports. What are some of the takeaways that you got working on the project with us?
Absolutely. Just a ton of wisdom on all different topics, Dave, from, the proper resume to following up to building a network, all the different areas that you want to think about in terms of growing. And I think one of the biggest ones, because a lot of people want to be an agent, is people realizing how many jobs there are in the sports industry and learning how to attack those different opportunities just within a professional organization or esports or so many different things besides just the agent world, that there's just incredible opportunities out there to learn and grow and be ready to attack and get after them.
One of the things I think people, when they're looking for careers, they're not more interested than interesting. I myself, when I was young, I didn't even know doctors worked in hospitals. And I laugh at a lot of the kids, when they ask me about being a sports agent. So I asked them, what's the number one reason you want to be a sports agent? And a lot of them have the wrong answer. They think that being a sports agent is different. What's your favorite part about being a sports agent?
I really think it's helping guys go after their dream of playing in the NFL. And it can be a first-round pick or it can be an undrafted pick. and just fighting to make the team. But it's really helping those guys be successful, be the best they can be with their NFL club, and then helping them transition into their second career too. Because as they realize their second career is going to be longer than their first, even though their first is a big one.
And then secondly, what was the biggest surprise in being a sports agent? You know, I know I had a few working with Lee Steinberg. What was the biggest surprise that you had in the career?
Oh, they're surprises all the time, unique, different things coming at you all over the place. I think one was the struggle, the challenge of when guys need to transition out of football. It's a very challenging time, and it's not always obvious when you need to jump out of it because sometimes people continue fighting for it and they get that opportunity. So in terms of helping guys transition, the surprise of not having a clear-cut timeline of when it's over. So guys got to decide on their own based on the circumstances, but help them fight as long as they want to fight going after their career, and then help them be prepared to transition to that second one. And use a lot of these tips that you're sharing today to help guys figure out how to be successful in the next career.
You know, and transitioning is so interesting, especially now because you and I have a couple kids that came home from college.
Right.
People are getting extremely anxious about, hey, what am I going to do this summer, or what am I going to do with my life?
Right.
And, you know, transitioning, when you have transitioned so many athletes from playing into, you know, super careers, you know, as business people and announcers and other things, what are some of the skills or habits that you think are helpful, or we will be teaching in Innovation University? I know we've talked about these skills, habits, and desires. What are some of the key ones right now when these kids have a little bit extra home time? What should they be doing?
Right, and that's why I'm excited about the course that we put together too. I think it's going to be on IY webinars next Friday, a free webinar just talking about the course and talking about all the things that you're bringing up here. But one of my favorites is people always comparing and trying to be like you or somebody else, as opposed to just embracing who they are. And we talked a lot about that. Everyone brings a unique story to the table, and embrace who you are and make the most of that opportunity. Just like I think one of your questions you were just addressing was, can people who are introverts be good salespeople? And there's just a lot of different ways to be successful. Attack it like an introvert in a positive way and embrace who you are. And you got, you know, sky's the limit on what you can do.
Yeah, and the good thing about Innovate University, we're going to be talking about all the different opportunities besides being a sports agent. A lot of people only see the limited number of jobs in sports. You and I know, because we've had them ourselves too, that not only is there a multitude of opportunities that pay really good money and align with your enjoyment, but you can create, and I think a little bit, even though you're a sports agent, you've really evolved and created a business with your partners that isn't just sports agentry, which is why you and I are professors now. So,
There's incredible opportunities. I mean, my son worked at NFL Network, and that's been a great experience for him. My daughter's worked in the PR department for the Seattle Seahawks, and that's been a great experience. Just embrace what you like. If you're an accountant, there's opportunities in sports as an accountant. If you're a PR person, there's opportunities in sports. So, again, embrace who you are, what your strengths are, what you bring to the table. There's a lot of great opportunities out there.
Take note, everybody out there. I have not been asked to help Bruce's kids. So for all of you people sending me resumes at Sports One Marketing, send them to Rep One. It must be a much better place to work.
You're the spot, man. You're the spot. Keep going to Dave. He's the man.
I'm getting sunburned. Look at this. This is amazing.
Life is good down there in South Mission.
You got it, baby. Anyway, we're going to be doing a free webinar, both professors for Innovate University. I wanted to have you on. Is there any last piece of advice that you'd like to give that maybe we haven't picked up yet?
I think on, like you were mentioning, just transitioning, this is really an opportunity to learn and grow and find out what you can do, not just our online class, but is there other things online you can learn and grow and continue to develop and come out of this situation that we're in better and stronger. And so and just embrace the time that you have and come out of it better. And that's what I think that you're pushing and doing a great job of sharing that wisdom with other people. And our class is one example of it, but there's a bunch of opportunities. So I just encourage you to grow and get better every day and seize the opportunity when it comes.
All right, I have to ask you one more question because Ricky Miller on there had it. It was really good. I know we're going to be together next Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific time.
That's right.
iywebinars.com. They can go to free webinar for us. But Ricky Miller asked basically, and it's good for every career. How do you put up with all the BS, the BS side of your job? How do you put up with that?
You know what? That's a lot of people say that, but when you when you select the right guys to recruit, there's really not a lot of BS. So really, like any industry you jump into, it just depends on the people that you're with. And there's
.com. Join for a free webinar about careers in sports, careers overall. Bruce, go back to your family. Please thank them all for allowing me to have 15 minutes of your time.
Thank you, Dave. You're the man. All the best to your family.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Thank you.
All right. Later.
Hey, how cool is that? You got one of the legends. If you don't know, Bruce has represented them all. He's the only agent I know that had the #1 and #2 pick ever. Significant change going on. But you may have not noticed before that there was significant change going on. What has occurred, though, is that the uncertainty which always exists in the future has been compressed because of one fact. Things are happening faster. And so when things happen faster, a lot of people create resistance. They create void shortages and obstacles. They create corrosion to what they actually have and to need is that inspiration, the life, the lessons, the love, the light that keeps them moving on. And so what they have to do is actually slow down and allow things to happen. So some of the tips that I give is to take inventory, right? Take inventory of your values, take inventory of your assets, take inventory of your closet, your garage. Make critical decisions based off of what you have, not off of unstable data, right? We want stable data. So when we take inventory, it allows us to have that stable data and allows us to go ahead and move forward. The first step is to be stable, and the next step is to look for opportunities. And so they have just assumed the normalcy fallacy that everything will just stay the same. Well, believe it or not, everything has been changing. It just hasn't been apparent to you because it hasn't had the change effect. And now it has. And so now we have to go and take a step back and take inventory, get stable, and then whose methods aren't working too well without going against the management. So the things that you need to do, just so you know, whenever you're not aligned, is there's two things to do. One, try to understand where they're coming from. You may be wrong, right? You may be wrong. So before you go ahead and make a decision based on why, and the impact isn't what you want, and you don't have the capabilities, then articulate your ideas to suggest that your way may be better. I always say when we have better ideas, always make yourself equal to the idea that's present and then make yourself different, make yourself better. So go ahead and acknowledge where they're coming from and the reasons, impacts, and capabilities that they have and provide that understanding and then make a leading question. Would it help if we did this? Do you think it may help if we did that? You don't have to create resistance and separation between you and your management. You actually can strengthen the relationship by tactfully and diplomatically suggesting in a rich environment how to do things in a more positive, productive manner. But learn first to make sure that you are right. Let's try to go live with someone else real quick. We got so many people on here. I've tried to get Heath on here before. Let's see if we can get Heath on here. Jake, thanks for joining me. Jake Cap, Furley 11, lucky numbers 11. I am. Hello.
Hey, Dave. How you doing, man?
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me on here.
I've seen you there a couple times. I really wanted to get you on, so I was
sure
hoping
appreciate it.
I hope you have a great question that we can share with the community.
I do. I just want to ask you, because I know this is relevant for maintaining your mental health during this physical crisis.
Yeah, so I look at things holistically. That my mental health is directly affected by my emotional, my spiritual, and my physical health. So I see a holistic approach. Mindset is, to me, the mental health aspect of it. But my mental health starts with my physical being, right? If our bodies aren't healthy, it's very hard to mentally be focused. And so what I try to do is set a minimum amount of time in health in general and start with my physical. Then I meditate for my mental well-being and find my highest frequency through meditation. Now, a lot of people may be averse to meditation. The key is I find my highest frequency, my highest self, my highest vibration, my happiest point. So if jogging does that for you, or having a cup of coffee and listening to a podcast, if snuggling your 9-year-old, whatever that may be,
right?
Do something for your physical health. Then go ahead and find your highest frequency, and then emotionally, whenever you're out of whack, go back to that higher place. So what happens is emotionally, we'll have the ego tell us, I'm afraid, anxious, frustrated, angry. I'll project some sort of separation, inferiority, superiority. And we have to train ourselves. It's a practice to go back to the higher self and I call it cancel. So I call it stop, drop, and roll. But if you can aggregate all of this practice and remind yourself and forgive yourself, this is just a practice. I'm still learning the lessons I teach. I'd like that to be quoted on there, by the way. I'm still learning the lessons I teach, because every lesson I ever teach, I forget. Yeah, please. You got it. But it is true. Like, I think it's an important thing that people know, like, hey, you're still learning the lessons that you teach. And I know you coach people as well. And you probably get off a coaching session half the time and go, man, that was really good. I wish I did that.
Oh, you do that, but it allows you to reflect. And, I do want to touch on that with me. I have a brain injury and I work with people with brain injury. And based on some of the principles that I've learned from working with you actually over the years indirectly, I've developed a system, because we isolate ourselves as brain injured people anyways. So we're familiar with isolation, but I think that this is really relevant to what's taking place right now. And I've developed a system that's aimed to be better, and it's accept, inform, and manage. And really what we need to do, because we work out of denial so much when we're presented with an issue, correct? And so once we fully accept what we're dealing with, then we can move to that next I, and that's informing ourselves how to best manage then, because it's the only way we're going to get better, is being able to accept, inform, and manage to move through that. Because until we do that, we operate out of resistance. And that's one of the things that I've learned from you is, the universe will not allow you to be resistant, because it will take you whichever direction it wants. But when you're fluid, things flow. And I've definitely learned with alignment, purpose, again, enrolling people in your vision, it creates just that higher resonance. And it's really helped us try to move through this stuff. So, again, I appreciate all you've done and that gratitude practice.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Keep clearing that connection between you and the most powerful source of energy, light, and love. And thank you for helping others. I appreciate it. We'll get you back on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Take care. Thanks, guys.
Take care. Very cool. My favorite part, helping other people. I am still learning the lessons I teach. Every once in a while, the universe gives me a gem. that's the humility that you have to understand that we're all hypocrites in a world that we're just trying our best and define that higher self. Let's go back to another question. How beautiful is it behind me, by the way? Is that incredible? Holy the moly. Creating content on a schedule, tips, finding your tribe. Yeah. First of all, consistent quality content. Write that down, everybody. If you really want to know how this works, it's consistent quality content. That's why, my mentor, hero, because the guy's amazing, Gary Vee, what he does well is he has consistent quality content that has such a powerful signal, such a wide spectrum, and such a clear message, right? It doesn't have to hit everybody. It has 9 million ambassadors and followers, whatever, but there's 4.2 billion people on Earth. Most people don't know who Gary Vee is, but within the scope of his signal and the spectrum of his signal and the clarity of the message, there's nobody better. He's so authentic and consistent with his quality content that talks to the audience that he wants, right? I'm working on, being able to talk to a wider spectrum. I got a strong signal, a clear message, but the spectrum that a Joe Osteen or a Tony Robbins, those guys can reach is extraordinary. How with what they say can reach so many people. It's a gift, and have to be humbled in order to effectuate communicating effectively to a wide spectrum. It takes practice, and I'm still learning the lessons that I teach, and that's one of them as well. Always the teacher became the student. Always. You got that. That's a great one. Let's go and see who else wants to join us here. Really great people. Thank you very much, Abdul Aki. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. I know it's a Saturday. Hopefully you're enjoying your family while you're watching this. I appreciate it. Let's see. Try to get someone else to go live, and I'll answer some more questions. All right. Waiting here. Anyone have any other questions I want to put up there? Please do so. I'll get to them. Really enjoying here. Hi.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you?
Good, thank you. I had a question for you.
Thank you.
So I like to follow more of your spiritualness on your Instagram. And the question for you is, what if, you're pursuing your passion, whether it's your career or school, you love it, you love everything about it, but there's some people there that are negative or toxic to your environment. How do you still continue to, keep it, comfortable for yourself and them without letting it get to you?
Yeah, that's a big practice, right? So we have a need to be offended. We have a need to be right.
Yeah.
We feel resentful and guilty. I wasted millions and millions of dollars trying to please everybody. And I would vote for what other people wanted for me. I'd vote for what they think. I'd let it, and I know this is true, especially in colleges. I have my own teenage girls. I'd let things eat me alive. I couldn't let it go. Somebody would say something. And when I learned to understand these toxic people and how they affected me, and started looking the other way and saying, it's not them, it's me, right? I used to say, wow, why does that bother me? And I started exploring and say, maybe what they're saying has some little drop of truth that I don't want to hear. And yes, it seems to be negative or create interference, but maybe they're giving me an opportunity to grow, expand, and accelerate by pointing out to me something that bothers me. So for example, I used to joke around if somebody said that, oh my gosh, you're not a very good speaker. That would never bother me because I had such confidence that I was a good speaker. But if someone said, oh my gosh, you have such a big nose, and make fun of my nose, I would say, oh, well, I have a small face, not a big nose. No, it would hurt my feelings, right? Because I was insecure about my nose, because people are. And then I started learning these other things when people would say little comments like, oh, you're so full of shit, or oh, you're this. And it would really bother me. But the truth is, it bothered me because it was true. And so I started working on those things. Now, I don't want to be around it all the time, right? I'm listening to the messages. So what I try to do is understand where they're coming from and forgive them for maybe saying it in a mean way or an attacking way, but then pray for their happiness. And if I don't have to be around them, I don't want to be around that all the time. There's enough people in the universe to love me and share my love with me. Then those people that don't like me are projecting their own hate. I could spend all day and night trying to convince them to like me, or in the same amount of energy, I could show all that love and light to people that already care about me and strengthen that connection between us. And so utilize that matrix in order to effectuate learning about what you want to work on for yourself and making sure that you're putting your energy not into people that you don't want, but the people that you do want. Does that sound fair?
That sounds awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Great question. Thank you.
Thanks.
I
Bye.
loved it. You guys are amazing. Thank you, everybody, for joining from Australia, everywhere. Dapa Mike, you're welcome. I know divorce is another difficult situation. Let's see here. After creating consistent content, what is the next most important thing to find your tribe and have your... So, it's literally, after literally consistently doing it, you have to be able to analyze what's working. You got to test things. There's nobody out there that really knows what they're doing. It's the people that know how to test, gather the feedback, and adjust from that. So I have put out stuff that I thought was genius and nobody else did. I've also put stuff out there that I'm questionable about, and it just kills it. Test, 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 test. Learn to understand the feedback, adjust from the feedback, and provide people what they want. Provide people, imagine you're a big satellite and all these people are radios and they all have different stations. Well, you have to transmit to a variety of different stations. And so if what you're transmitting doesn't, get recognized on that station, then figure out what you're trying to say to that station. And the more stations you can hit, the more you'll be like Joe Osteen or Tony Robbins and hit everybody. Very cool. Let's hit another question. How do we attract what we want? So here's how I believe we attract what we want. I believe what we pay attention to and give intention to gives us the coincidences in our lives. And if we practice attention plus intention, meaning consciously every day giving it attention and intention, and then accessing it in our subconscious mind, creating neural pathways, creating disciplines and habits in our mind that then speak to our quantum memory. It speaks to our actual frequency, personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions that will also in the metaphysical, quantum physical, and real realm help to attract or create the coincidences that we want. I used to think the law of attraction was if I create a vision board, think about it, say about it, and do about it, that'll instantly go up into the universe and attract what I want. I now believe that what I think, say, and do create the beliefs that I have and the neural pathways that I need in order to communicate with my DNA. To activate the epigenetic layer of my DNA, I believe I have a quantum memory, an actual potential according to different parts of me. And that creates personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, addictions, frequency, and energy. That is what is the beacon. That's what it is attracting, not a direct connect, but through me to what I want. And that's coincidences where other people think I'm lucky, which is a good thing. Let's go down here. Question, how to make the most out of this quarantine? Inventory, inventory, inventory. Take inventory of your values, inventory of what you have, and then go ahead and maximize 3 different areas. I use the stock market to help me understand my capabilities. One, I look for the best 50 performing stocks and look for the synergistic supplementary capabilities I have to those 50 stocks. I look for the 50 most maintained stocks that haven't moved, and I look for the synergistic supplementary capabilities that I have. And then I also look at the 50 most crushed stocks, and I look for opportunity in those, determined upon either my situational knowledge from living through 93, 97, 2001, or 2008, or I go find someone that's lived through even more years in that space and ask him one simple question: when is it oversold? And then I buy. And then I ask him to call me when it's overbought so I can sell. Quick way to revenue, quick way to margins. Really easy thing to do. Let's go ahead, see if we can grab one more person on here. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. I'm addicted to getting better, me too, and trying to outperform the competition.
Hey,
There he is. What's
how's
going
it
on?
going? Not much, man. Just wanted to hop on the live and say what's going on. I haven't got the chance to do this yet with you.
I'm really glad that you did, man. You got a question or something to add to the community?
Yeah, so I'm coming from Fort Lauderdale, and I know you just started talking about experiencing the market and times of detriment, whether it was 2001, 2008. I'm in the real estate space currently, and I just wanted to know, from your experience in times like this, obviously for me, the board of realtors just kind of we're not allowed to do any more showings or do anything. So I'm at a point now where I'm going back and I'm looking at my playbook, and I'm trying to figure out ways to bounce back. Even though the market's not being hit too extremely hard, it's more just on a pause right now. So if you had any advice on what to do kind of within the downtime.
Yeah. So number one, you know the opportunity's coming, right? You know, in real estate, the opportunity's coming. So for me, money doesn't disappear. It just slows down. And when it slows down, that's when I really get involved in strategy, awareness, and help. So, you know, I would be out there asking all the most experienced people that you know what to do next when this thing opens back up, because it's going to open back up. And, you know, in real estate, people are going to buy and sell, just like in the stock market. The people that do really well are those people that know how to get the most transactions and create their margins from the buying and selling, and pick off the best opportunities or get a piece of the best opportunities themselves, find supporting business to those opportunities. All of these are questions that, you know, down there in Fort Lauderdale, there's some guys that have been in the business 50 years. They've seen things that I don't even know about. They know about things that you and I, you know, we'd have to pay $1 million to $10 million of dummy tax to learn. So I would be literally out there asking via phone. I'd ask. Go ahead.
Well, I know your buddies with Alex Vidal down here in Fort Lauderdale, and he's a friend of mine as well. And maybe he's watching, maybe not. But one thing that he told me, just for everyone that's in the real estate space, I see in the comments, some people, is I've been trying to go daily walks, daily runs, just to get outside. And what he recommended for me was, while you're walking, 2 birds with 1 stone. Hop on the phone, make a call to one of your clients just to touch base, ask how they're doing, and kind of give them an update on what's happening in the market, just to keep things, just to keep one, communication with them, and 2, it shows that you're on top of your stuff.
Absolutely, man. You should be asking a series of questions of how you can be of service and of value to them. And you start by asking them, hey, how are you doing? What are you doing? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Is there, you know, would it help you if I did this? Right? And all these opportunities are going to arise right now even. And so, and then if you do that well enough, you can ask them a series of questions of how they can help you. Remember, in real estate, everybody is an agent. So I want to repeat this, because a lot of people don't understand this. In real estate, everybody is an agent, because every single person in the world knows somebody that wants to buy or sell real estate. I don't care who you are. And so if you don't understand that you treat everybody like an agent, and you be kind to your future self, and you're there to provide value, service, and to ask for value and service of anyone that you meet, you're going to exponentially, on average, most people, I keep telling you, they know about 1,000 people on average. When I was at your age, you know, I could ask someone on average, they knew 5 people. They knew their card game, their golf game, their church group. You know, they only knew a few people. Now, people you just meet are all agents. So ask them, hey, do you know one that is interested in this? When this thing turns around, do you know one that has the knowledge about this, the skills about this? Do you know anybody that lives around this area that may be interested, that's having a little bit of trouble, that I can help out and get some cash to them and take, you know, some extra properties away from them? There's tons of stuff. But your buddy Alex and mine, dude, I got those earpods in when I'm walking all day long. It pisses off my wife sometimes, but I'm calling people and asking a series of questions to see how I can be of service.
Yeah, one other question. So aside from real estate, recently I just got involved in renewable energy. So I started a solar company just recently. Something that's became, it's called Blue Planet. It was a class I had in college at FAU here. And it really got me going on Earth sustainability. And with everything that's happening, global warming, believe in it or not, it's real, it's happening. But solar energy is something so great. And I know you always speak on providing value. And for me, that's an industry where I think there's tremendous amount of value for me to provide. And at the same time, also, it's a great business to be a part of. Now, in an economy that is starting to be detrimented slightly, it's not something that everyone needs, but we're like just getting off the ground right now. And so I'm kind of in between. I'm just like been in my head about how can I grow this business when it's something that people aren't going to necessarily see themselves need. So if they're not going to see themselves need it because money's tight, job's tight, work's slow, whatever the case is, how can I help catapult that business? And maybe I answered my own question, but the only thing that I can think of is that there's value in everything. You just have to find the value. And so not make it about, I guess that it's more just the pitch needs to be right to
Yeah,
show
man.
value.
Here's what you do. Get the quantitative reasons and impacts and capabilities. When I say that, number one, not everybody has lost money, right? Not everybody is in bad trouble. Two, people need to save money. Three, people need to add value to their home if they want to sell it. So you do the math for them and let them know, hey, you know, by leasing this, buying this, etc., you're going to increase the value of your home because you're now offering this much of a discount every month on their electric bills or whatever it is. You're there in Florida. Obviously, air conditioner runs a flow.
Yeah.
So go do the math, do the work. Go if you want. I know when my buddy Edwin owns a great solar company and a security company. Those guys have great stories and lessons and quantitative value. All it is math. If you can articulate the math, then you can. This is the question, everybody. Listen to me. If you're selling something, you need to answer this question for yourself before you go sell. Can you see any reason why you don't want to move forward? If you can't answer that for yourself, selling yourself, don't move forward. Figure out the math so you can articulate it correctly, so you can say, here's the reasons that you should switch. Number one, it's going to increase value of your home. Two, it's going to save you on your energy bills. Three, it's, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know your business better than me. So go ahead, do the math, convince yourself, then you'll be able to convince others. All right?
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And just one other thing in the downtime for everybody, do something. I'm trying to learn French right now, so make it useful.
All right. Go buy quantum
man.
physics for. Thank you. Hey, everybody out there, forget French, man. Your phone's going to convert English to French and French to English. Go do quantum physics for dummies. Let's figure out this world, the math of this world, the physics and science of this world. But I test your mind. I'm just joking. I love that French for dummies. Hola, ¿qué pasa? ¿Por qué no comes la comida, amigo? Nice to see you. Why French, bro? You're right. Do the quantum physics. I'm going to sell a ton of those. Quantum physics for dummies. Bust knuckles. What's up? All right, let's get another question in here. Think and Grow Rich. There's something you should be reading. What's the one thing that inspires you the most? The ability to clear the connection to that which inspires me. Like that enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential, to keep realizing and raising my awareness that there's all these things that I'm doing to myself to stop the flow of this extraordinary source of energy, light, love, and lessons. And I'm getting more and more into it, and it's keeping me consistently fired up, right? Difference between motivation and inspiration. Motivation is short term. Motivation can be created by fear. It can be created by ego, but it doesn't last, right? Fear, ego, it's a energy drainer, where inspiration is an energy builder. It's an exponential component of our lives. And so what excites me most and inspires me most is I seem to be on the practice of clearing that connection. I know I got a long way to go, but I'm on the practice of it, and every day it gets better. I saw Wayne Dyer's name flash across there. As a Man Thinketh, Wayne Dyer, Think and Grow Rich, all of my favorite books. You got it. Keep on rolling them for people to see. Those are all great ones. Where are you? South Mission Beach. Come on by if you can. They closed the boardwalk and the beach, so I feel like a billionaire out here. I got my own beach sitting in a patio, but I am isolated and safe and getting sunburned. I'm not sure how in that order. What's your business? My business is on a mission to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. A mission to empower others to be happy. In fact, I want a minimum of 1 billion people before I leave this earth to be happy. Happiness is the best virus. It's the only virus that is spread by witnessing it. It also strengthens our immune system. So my business is helping others and quantifiably making money from that. So I have a Bud Light business where I use my brand, don't charge people, but attract business people who want to share in my vision and want to do business with me. And I guarantee profit to everybody that I do work with. So I only work month to month, guarantee profit month to month. And it's a much better way to do business than I had. Don't need to lock people in, don't need to oversell, manipulate, any of those things. Don't put limits, David. You're going to do over 1 million. You're right. Furniture store owners are the best. All right. Let's get back onto some question. Happiness is the best virus. Don't forget. How do you stay consistent? Practice, practice, practice. Lower the bar. Consistency is an activity. Even Einstein said nothing happens till we move. So start moving. I don't care if it's 0.1 seconds a day just to say thank you. Consistency is a habit machine. So build the habit machine, start figuring out as many things that you can do every day that you can, and keep building so you can just put more things into the habit machine. If you become a billionaire, what will you do first? Give it away. It's easy. Not even a question. How do you get the MO? The M-O-E. Oh my gosh, am I old? Am I supposed to know what Mo is, Jacqueline? M-O-E? The mojo? I don't know what the Mo is. I am so sorry and old. You're killing me. How do you deal with FOMO and missing out? Hey, Liam, thank you so much. Because I have switched FOMO into JOMO, the joy of missing out. I literally have. I was the biggest FOMO. Me and my boy, Rob Angel, who invented Pictionary, founder of Pictionary, just unbelievably super guy. We were the FOMO brothers, the FOMO twins. And every time it was like almost a race to see who's going to be missing out on what. I literally live my life in JOMO. It's the joy of missing out because I am so steadfast on my values. I'm so steadfast on what I want to get by being a student of my calendar in the day, putting attention and intention to create the coincidences I want, that there is no void shortages or obstacles. If I want to do something, I'm not missing out on it. I'm doing it. That's all there is to it. I'm doing it. I'm not putting time on it, but I'm going to do it. If I want to go somewhere or do something, I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to feel pressure to do something out of fear. I'm going to do it out of joy, so including missing out. So enjoy the JOMO, forget the FOMO. All right, good one. I'm firing through these. These are great. How to grow from a small company, 1 to 5 to 10 to 15. First small steps would help. What's the most important thing to do so? Here's the stages of growing a business. One is the learning stage of the business. That's when we know we have to make extra investment in learning what the best way to be efficient, effective, and statistically successful are, and how do we scale that through employees. What values are we going and culture are we going to build, and how does the cash work? Once we figure out the learning stage, then we can go to the execution stage where we build up exponential value so that each employee is regulated and resonated to a certain amount of exponential profitability. And once they hit that mark, we actually can go to an equity or annuity stage where the business is actually worth something. And that's always been my goal. Sometimes I achieve it, sometimes I don't. There's circumstances that arise and have always arisen, but through that, I stay in business. That's all I can tell you. So to scale that business, go through the learning stage, learn as much as you can in order to scale the business, especially by employees, what culture and what cash you need. Very good. Can you share with us some leadership actions I can implement in the company where I work? First leadership action is do your job. I know that may sound funny, but so many people are creating void shortages and obstacles by trying to motivate others or inspire others to do their job, and they forget to do their job. The best way to be a leader is to do your job and do it well. And then live by values or corporate culture. For my company, I have 4 things: gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication or inspiration. I hire off of those values. I actually evaluate all my employees by that value, and then it comes quantitative profit. So values and profit, I am in business and people need to perform and create profitability. And if they're not going to follow the culture, 1, or 2, they're not going to be profitable, then I fire fast. So I am extremely loyal to those employees that understand and live by the culture and enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of profitability within my organization. But the people that do the best as leaders are doing their job best. That's a really good question. I haven't seen that before. Thank you for asking it. What is the best way for people to pivot during these times? Hey, everybody's always pivoting. So work on your skills, acquire more knowledge, and clear that connection to be more inspired. It'll allow you more options. If you have more options, there's more options to pivot. It allows you to pivot. So if you're not developing your skills every day, not acquiring more knowledge through mentorship, podcasts, TV shows, whatever you like, you're not doing the things necessary in order to pivot, which is give yourself options. It's so easy to pivot when you got 10 options, right? Let's get real. Let's do what we have to do. Let's work on what we have to work on. Very cool. Any advice on self-discipline? It's the most difficult thing, right? Self-discipline. So giving it and acknowledging that it's so difficult is the first step. Second is to be able to do it every day, to understand the continuum, and I'm going to share it with you real quickly, of how discipline is formed. One, we have 10,000 daily inputs, 10,000 things that we do every single day. This data is inputted through inaccurate senses. 5 senses: our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth, our touch. We have to realize, one, that they're inaccurate, but two, that we need daily input in order to do this. Two, our memories. Nothing is more inaccurate than our memories. Our senses are more accurate, but nothing's more inaccurate than our memories. So now our 10,000 conscious data points are literally inputted by inaccurate data. Then it goes into our subconscious, and if we access it every day, after a minimum of 21 days and up to 21 lifetimes, depending on what your quantum memory is, in your DNA. Some people can get a habit and a discipline in 21 days. Sometimes it's 21 lifetimes, depending on what you've inherited from either 4 generations genetically or 4 million lifetimes. I don't know. But understanding that continuum of the inaccuracy of data inputs, the 10,000 new thoughts a day to the 40,000 of the stored intermediate memory thoughts that then program your quantum memory, which is a hard drive, a long-term memory that then creates a frequency, a signal, a beacon to create the coincidences that you want. So that's how you create that. What was the toughest time in your career? Toughest time in my career was getting my first job. I remember sitting on my bed in law school with the recession going on in 1992, and everyone not getting jobs, having $100,000 of loans, and telling God that I would shovel shit with my hands 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, if He'd just let me make enough money to buy my mom a house and a car and pay off my law loans. So to me, always the most difficult time in the career is the earliest in the career, because you have no situational knowledge, very little relationship capital, and usually very little cash. Now, as you get older, the more relationship capital you have, the kinder you've been to your future self, the more capital that you have yourself, and the more situational knowledge you have yourself, the easier the career is. So I'd say the beginning of my career was always the difficult. I love that question. Thanks, Kevin. What's for dinner? It's always up to my wife. Hey, Julie, what's for dinner? Mediterranean, but she needs to talk to me about it. So I got 8 more minutes. All right. Whatever I want, I'm having for dinner. That's awesome. All right. Let me see here. What tool do you use to instantly change your mindset? I can't. I wish I could. I can't instantly change my mindset. I use this stop, drop, and roll to progressively change my mindset, meaning I meditate in the morning to find the highest frequency, my highest self, my baseline for the day. When the ego takes me off of that trajectory and creates void shortages and obstacles, creates interference and corrosion to the powerful source of energy, light, and love and lessons that I'm in, hopefully I'm wise enough, instead of accelerating in the wrong direction through fear, frustration, anxiety, separation, inferiority, superiority, anger, offense, regret, I stop. I find the neutrality. I search for that place, that higher frequency that I was looking at. I drop down my frustration, anxiety, etc., and then I roll in the right trajectory. That's how I do it, and I practice it. I cannot instantly do it. So that's so interesting. Favorite college football team, Ohio State. Don't hate, don't hate, don't hate. Ohio State Buckeyes, that's my favorite. Spiritual book you can recommend: A Course in Miracles, Power of Intention. Some of my favorites. Oops, I just turned this on. Sorry, Jacqueline. There you go. I'm back. All right, got 7 more minutes. Let me go live with someone else real quick. Sorry to make you wait. And looking on here. Get the crazy man on here. I love this guy. Here we go. Dougie Fresh, you on there? What's advice would you give your younger self? Easy. Radical humility.
Mr. Meltzer, how are you, man?
Dude, we have been quarantined from each other. Once we met, they decided that you and I should not be in the same place.
I know, man. Thanks so much for having me on. I mean, dude, like what you've been doing is so inspirational, and gosh, I mean, I love following you, and I appreciate being connected to you, man.
Well, you got a lot of wisdom yourself and a lot of help that you're giving. I know I owe you. I asked Marshall. I know I owe you a conversation with Mark Park. He did say yes, by the way, and we're gonna get him on here again. But you got a question for the community or something we can help you with?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing that people I think are struggling with is kind of like how to navigate and balance like the ability to be still right now and just work on ourselves, and also to kind of hustle and bustle and make the most of like the opportunities when we're here like quarantine. Like what would you like, what kind of advice would you provide for people like that?
I think you have to have a routine, and we can't have our normal routine. We have to create an adaptable routine. And that's why I tell people to take inventory of their values, because I think if you take inventory every day of your values and then establish an adaptable routine for that day of those values, that not only can you plan the efficiencies of what you have planned, but looking at the white space of your calendar, you now can actually plan for that neutrality, right? That piece, that research, that inventory of other things, the project that you learn French, learn quantum physics, all of those things that you're talking about. It gives a sense of security. Remember, what creates confidence is three things: clarity on what you want, balance of your values, and focus. When we have clarity about what we want and we balance them within the values for the day and then focus in on them, meaning give it attention plus intention, we get confident. And that confidence is the clearing of the connection of that powerful source that creates the coincidences. So that's the mathematics that are, I believe, behind what you're talking about: finding neutrality, utilizing what we call downtime or peaceful time in order to effectuate even greater advancement, greater acceleration and growth, and greater coincidences of what we want. Does that sound fair?
It sounds perfect, man. It's funny, like this, like I feel like I've been training for this, because this reminds me of when I was incarcerated, being isolated, not being able to go anywhere. It's just weird because there's like nobody here. So I love what you're doing, man. Keep it up.
Yeah, well, check out Doug's story, man. It's incredible. It is probably great lessons to learn from you about being quarantined and how to be a better self when you get out, right? So keep up the good work.
I mean, like fitness, literally saved my life the last time I was quarantined, when I was incarcerated on felony drug charges. So I just encourage people who are on here just for a minute just to make the most of this. Make sure you're working out, taking Dave's advice, meditating, paying attention to your ego, and just doing whatever you got to do. So thanks for having me on, man.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I owe you that phone call. Go ahead, hit me up. It's a good time to get him. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Man. Another guy that knows illumination. He made mistakes when he was young, got incarcerated, illuminates to everyone, takes the power out of it by telling everyone the lessons that we learned and the humility that it takes. Someone asked me on there, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? Radical humility. 18, 28, 38, 48, and 52. I keep reminding myself, Dave, you got to be radically humble. You got to learn from your lessons. You got to tell people the truth. You got to allow people to know that you're just human, you're a hypocrite, that you're doing the best that you can. Share the good ideas. Let them know that they come through you. From God and others, it just comes through me, through experience, and I want everyone to share in the happiness, right? We got 3 minutes left. Oh, no, Melvin Gordon to the Broncos. See? Share the happiness. Oh, man. Here we go, Chargers. Let's go. We're getting Cam Newton, by the way. Let's take one more question. What's the last negative assumption you made, and what did you learn from it? Last negative assumption I made about my teenage daughter. I just assumed and didn't give her credit and empower her with making good decisions. And she wanted to go somewhere, and I thought for a different reason. And I want to make sure that not only is she safe, but she understands the severity of keeping other people safe. And it ended up that she really had to go somewhere in order to facilitate. She starts school back up online, her college on Monday. So I forgave myself and reminded myself, I'm going to end on this. Look for the superpowers in people. Look for the superpower in the position you're in. You'll get what you find. You'll get what you seek. If you're seeking, I know right now crime is down, but domestic crime is up because we're looking for the wrong things in each other when we're sitting at home. Look for the light. One little particle of light overcomes a million particles of darkness. Remember the candle theory, right? My candle burns if I only hold it to myself. But the minute I light other people's candles, my candle stops burning. So let's look for the light in other people. Let's find the superpowers in them. Let's encourage them. You're going to find what you seek. So let's seek the right. Virus that's created by witnessing, and it also strengthens our immune system. Certainly appreciate it. Everybody will join you tomorrow live. Thank you, Bruce Tollner. Check him out at iywebinars.com, 2 p.m. Friday Pacific time. Learn about getting a career in sports.